start, please support our channel by subscribing, and click the bell icon for future notifications. Now, let's start. Harlan Thrombey, a wealthy crime writer, invites his entire family to his house in Massachusetts to celebrate his 85th birthday. The following morning, Fran, Harlan's housekeeper, discovers him dead with a slash wound to his neck. Although the private investigator Benoit Blanc is hired by an unidentified party to look into the death of Harlan, the police believe that it was a suicide. Blanc discovers that Harlan and his family don't get along well. Richard's mistress, Linda, had been threatened with exposure by Harlan, Richard's father-in-law. Due to the fact that he stole Harlan's property, Harlan also terminates Joni's benefits. He had a disagreement with his grandson Ransom and sacked his youngest son Walt from his publishing company. When interviewed and investigated, almost all family members lied when answering questions and were known to have a strong motive for killing Harlan. His son-in-law, Richard, was known to argue with him in the morning because he was caught having a mistress. Walt, wanting to adapt Harlan's book into a film and TV series, was turned down and fired. Joni, apparently doubled Meg's school funds and caused Harlan's funds to be stopped. On the eve of his birthday he quarreled with his grandson, Ransom, and revealed that he had changed his will and removed Ransom from the beneficiary. The basics of this family were completely shattered, but each of the family members managed to play their roles neatly, so that people couldn't see the minuses. The decision of his father-in-law, who had ended his monthly ration, of course, made Joni angry. At first, the detectives concluded that this case is a case that often occurs in a family. With time things will return to normal. While strolling around the house, Detective Benoit catches Marta, Harlan's nurse, aloof. Detective Benoit poses a number of queries about Harlan's passing, how long he's worked for Harlan, and how much money he makes. Harlan always wanted to play Go on his birthday night, so that is where it all began. When Marta was on the verge of winning the game, Harlan unintentionally dropped the Go board. Drug use. Marta continued administering the regular medicines after the game ended. He also gave Harlan 3 milligrams of morphine as usual to ease his post-operative pain. He was shocked to see the bottle of morphine when he checked it. Empty, since it was mistaken for another medicine. Fearing that the dosage might be fatal, he started looking for an antidote right away but was unsuccessful. Having only 10 minutes, Marta tried to call 911, but was stopped by Harlan because there would not be enough time. This is where it all started. Harlan, who didn't want Marta to be arrested, especially because his mother, who was an illegal immigrant, made a scenario to free Marta from charges. With the background of the mystery writer, he also tells step by step before finally committing suicide by slashing his own neck. Unbeknownst to Blanc, after the birthday party, Harlan's nurse, Marta Cabrera, accidentally gives him an overdose of morphine instead of regular medicine and can't find an antidote, so Harlan only has a few minutes to live. To protect Marta, Harlan gives instructions to create a false alibi to avoid suspicion of his death, then Harlan slits his own throat. Marta carries out Harlan's instructions, but Harlan's mother, Great Nana, sees Marta and thinks Marta is Ransom. Marta couldn't lie without throwing up first, so she gave correct but incomplete answers when Blanc questioned her. Marta is asked to assist Blanc with his investigation. Marta tries to conceal the proof as they look for Harlan's stuff. Marta, who was racked with remorse, made an effort to acknowledge that she was to blame for Harlan's passing, even though she and her family would suffer terrible things. However, it came to an end by Blanc, who had just read the results of Harlan's blood test. It transpires that Ransom was the mastermind behind the elaborate scheme that resulted in Harlan's suicide on his birthday night. While bickering with his grandfather on his birthday, Ransom learns that Marta will receive all of Harlan's riches. Leaving in a fit of rage, he gets the idea to kill his grandfather and at the same time reclaim his inheritance from Harlan. The plan begins with exchanging the grandfather's drugs and stealing the antidote from Marta's medical bag. Swapping the drugs would cause Harlan to overdose. When he finds out that Harlan has slashed his own throat and made the incident look like a suicide, he devises a new plan by paying Blanc anonymously to investigate the case. Everything was going smoothly, until he found out that the medicine Marta had given to Harlan was not wrong. In order to get rid of the evidence, he also decides to blow up the forensics. That the blood in Harlan is pure. When Fran, who doesn't require, causes yet another disruption to the strategy, notes Ransom's erratic behavior while staying at home to attend Harlan's funeral. He further wrote a letter of threat to Marta, which Ransom later modified somewhat. He intends to use Marta as a scapegoat once more in this scheme. But this strategy Marta, who is compassionate, decided to save her and call an ambulance, therefore she failed once more. Alan Stevens, Harlan's lawyer, read from Harlan's will, which indicated that he left all of his to the astonishment of both Marta and the entire Thrombey family. He gave Marta things. They accuse Marta and Alan, but Ransom facilitates her escape. Marta is persuaded to confess to Ransom, and he promises to assist him in exchange for a portion of the money. The passing on. The other family members attempt to convince Marta to abandon her fortune. Walt then makes a threat to reveal Marta's mother as an illegal alien. Marta receives a partial copy of Harlan's toxicological report along with an anonymous blackmail note. When he and Ransom arrive at the medical examiner's office, they discover that the duplicate was lost in the fire. An anonymous email with a time and date is sent to Marta. Blanc and the police, also investigating the destroyed medical examiner's office, see Marta and Ransom. After a brief car chase, the police arrest Ransom, and Blanc explains to Marta that Great Nana saw Ransom come down from Harlan's room the night he died. Marta goes to the appropriate email address and finds Fran drugged along with Marta's missing medical case. Marta then hesitates, realizing that Fran could link Marta to the crime, but she performs CPR on Fran and calls 911. Marta confesses to Blanc, but Ransom has told her. At home, Marta finds a copy of the full toxicology report buried in Fran's stash of marijuana. The Thrombus is about to hear Marta admit that she killed Harlan. But after reading the report, Blanc turns away from Marta. Marta, Ransom, and the police learn about Blanc's puzzle pieces. After Harlan's surrender is revealed to Ransom at his birthday party, he gives Marta everything and switches the medication's ingredients. Bottlein steals the remedy in order to overdose Harlan on morphine and kill him, deeming Marta to be a murderer, disqualifying Marta from receiving the bequest. As opposed to reading the label, Marta actually gives the right drug after recognizing as a result, Marta is not responsible for Harlan's passing because of the liquid's weight and viscosity. After it is determined that Harlan committed suicide, Ransom hires Blanc undercover to determine Marta's complicity. Then Fran notices Ransom swiping Marta's medical case to conceal that the vial's contents had been altered, and it sends Ransom a blackmail email. Being knowing that Marta was ignorant that she had administered the proper medication to Harlan, Marta received a blackmail email from Ransom. The medical examiner's office is destroyed by Ransom. Obliterate Marta's innocence as proof. Finally, Ransom gave Fran an anesthetic using it in order to incriminate Marta for her morphine overdose. She sent Marta an email with her location. In the end, all of Ransom's plans were revealed by Blanc. Having no solid evidence, Marta traps Ransom by lying that Fran is still alive. Believing that because Marta didn't vomit, she confessed all her crimes. Unbeknownst to him, Marta was holding back her vomit long enough for Trooper Wagner to record all of Ransom's confessions. Marta tricks Ransom into confessing by lying that Fran is safe and that she will drag Ransom away. After Ransom confessed and vowed revenge, Marta immediately threw up in front of Ransom, revealing a lie. Ransom assaults Marta with a knife out of rage but discovers that the weapon is a retractable stage knife. Ransom's confession was taped by the police. Marta then observes Ransom being held while living in Harlan's house. Last but not least, Martha testified and thoroughly explained everything to the Thrombey family. Support provided by Detective Blanc. Martha, who already feels cornered by Detective Blanc, is defended by the charges brought forth by the Thrombey family. Detective Blanc stated with rage that the family was like a vulture who, despite having a bloody mouth, was never satisfied. Finally, Harlan's death was only a suicide, according to Detective Blanc, who also declares that the matter is concluded. Ransom walks in and apologizes to Martha, but Detective Blanc is very rude to say that the Thrombey are a bunch of people who are good at twisting facts. Back in the present, Detective Blanc tells about the drug that was given to the late Harlan. There, Detective Blanc reveals that everything Marta has done is correct. In this case she is proven not to have been involved at all. Meanwhile, Ransom doubts it and asks Detective Blanc if all of this has any evidence and who dares to vouch for the truth. Harlan's death was not due to an accidental medical error but due to a stab wound to his neck which indicated that he had committed suicide. From the beginning, if we pay great attention, hints that Ransom as Harlan's murderer have been revealed. This is evident from the way that each family member's secrets were quickly revealed through flashbacks. Not in sequences involving Ransom. Only the fact that he was crossed off the list of family heirs is known. The following hint, as Blanc also explains, is how Harlan's mother, Marta's grandmother remarked, "You're back again, Ransom?" As evidenced above, Ransom had already snuck into his grandfather's study to carry out his evil scheme. He admitted to Marta that he frequently assisted his grandfather with material research for creating detective fiction. Additionally, it enables him to create nearly flawless blueprints. If not stopped by Marta, who administers the appropriate medication, and is aware of the Slayer rule, if an heir is found to have killed the other heir, According to the law, the inheritance may be revoked. Later, once he had returned from his emergency window, we discovered Harlan's mother, aka his great-grandma. Thus, it appears that Martha's injection of medicines was accurate, and Harlan was supposed to be healthy at that point. Harlan was the one who truly cared for Martha as a nurse. Could only identify the remedy based on, say, the drug's weight and liquid content, without even reading the labels. So, Martha, in no way, is guilty of Harlan's death on this part that we the audience immediately dismay. It's more than a plot twist. Go further. To him, Harlan was reported to be dead of his own life, then Ransom later hired Blanc without revealing his identity in order to investigate and prove that Martha was Harlan's killer. That's why Blanc must know that Martha can't lie because Ransom told her so. To help him smooth his plan, Ransom returned home that was then empty. Where everyone goes to funerals. Ransom's giving Martha's morphine back. France was unexpectedly remained at home when she saw the ransom note. Ransom then returned to the absolutely normal blood toxicology letter for Harlan. The absence of Harlan's under the influence, Ransom finally understood that Martha had unintentionally given Harlan the right treatment. Then Ransom destroyed the proof and wrote Martha a letter of blackmail. Ransom later caught fire. The forensics department to remove Harlan's blood test results, which would exonerate Martha. He finally found Franz, and injected a high dose of morphine into Franz's body. Then emailed the location to Martha, which was one of Ransom's plans to frame Martha, who committed the murder of Fran. You did it. Instead, it was the high culprit. Because of the call, high for this ransom only comes out of Franz's mouth. Realizing the analysis of the blank, Ransom is still confident because they will not have enough evidence to catch Ransom. Now, the only hope is Fran, who's in intensive care, in the hospital. Shortly afterward Martha received a call from the hospital reporting on the condition of Fran. Martha tells them Fran is fine. Since the entire strategy was doomed, additionally the last surviving witness, Ransom eventually acknowledged the evaluation of the blank. Ransom makes a vow to exact retribution as he looks Martha in the eye. Martha immediately, spilling up on face of the ransom which indicates Fran is dead and Martha was lying. However, carrots are already cooked. The document and Ransom are already in confession. Finally, enraged, he assaulted Martha with a blade. When Martha's epic movie first came out, we assumed she was gone. As it happened, it was a toy knife that Ransom used to assault Martha. When the police finally located Ransom, at the conclusion, Blanc informed Martha that she had known from the start that she had had a part in Harlan's death. Upon noticing the tiny blood streaks on his sneakers, Linda then noticed a letter from Alan that appeared empty. She hexed the note and reminded her of the communication from Harlan that had disclosed her husband's identity. Betrayal. Ransom was taken into custody at the spectacular scene. Currently, the roles are reversed. Martha, the owner of this opulent estate, could now see the entire clan Thrombey below from the balcony.